So tell me, what is your name and what is your job?
So I'm Danilo Campos, and I'm a freelance mobile interaction designer / developer.
What's your process like for building a mobile app?
So we start with a general set of either problems or requirements that we want to solve. And then what I'll do is I'll sit down with some pencil and paper and I'll sketch out the gist of what I think the application should flow like. So before any code gets written, I really think that prototyping in some form or another is really important, because what you can do is kind of feel the app working under your fingers on a piece of glass with all of the constraints that come from, you know, this little screen in your hands, before you commit to writing a bunch of code that may not actually work. There's an author, Michael Lopp, and he has written that 1.0 does not want to exist. And he's right. 1.0 will fight you at every step of the way not to come into existence. And that fight is so fun for me. I love the battle of dragging this thing, kicking and screaming, into existence. It's just the most exhilarating thing in the world to get something out into the App Store, get people using it, get it into people's hands, where once none of this had existed at all. It is such a great experience.
So tell me where we're at right now.
This is my apartment. I love the creativity that is enabled from a very simple, open up space like this that I can come and go as I please. My day is structured the way I want to structure it, and if I want to write code at 2 a.m., I can totally do that.
When did you first realize that this is something that you were interested in doing?
I quit my job in the middle of 2009. This is like the middle of the financial crisis. And everyone thought that I was crazy, like just nuts to be doing this. And they were probably right. But what I thought was, if I wanted to get into this, I was going to have to hire myself first. So I built a series of iOS projects for myself. I sold them in the App Store, and that kept me solvent between that and my savings for about 7 months. I was 2 weeks from homelessness. And I always thought that, like, if you don't look homelessness like straight in the eye, you aren't taking enough risks for your career, probably. My first big break for actually having a salaried job was with Hipmunk. They didn't even look at my resume. They looked at my website, which had a bunch of apps, and they hired me on the strength of that. And they didn't know, actually, for several months that, you know, I had no formal training in computer science or anything like that. And so that was a really exciting kind of big break to get, and I was very privileged to get to work with that product.
Do you have a signature style to the apps that you build?
Now, one thing that'll show up is a sense of playfulness. With Level, for example. Level is a thing dealing with your money. There were definitely elements of playfulness, like, say, in how the dashboard animates around, and you know, where it's kind of alive and it feels like it's doing something there, but we still want to take seriously the fact that, you know, your money is going on. Hipmunk was a little bit livelier because we had this mascot. People really got excited about this chipmunk. I don't know why, but it made my job so much easier, because anytime there was something about to happen that may not have been the most fun, like maybe had a weight spinner going on, well, you just put the Hipmunk on it and it'll be fine.
What is the most crucial component to being a mobile app developer?
You have to be comfortable killing your babies. That's going to happen. You're going to fall in love with something and it's going to be really exciting, but for whatever reason, it's not going to work. There was one feature that I worked on last year. I swear to you, I worked on this feature, killed it 7 times, and rebuilt it from scratch each time. It happens, but it's important, because if you don't do it, some other person will, and they have the same opportunity you do on the App Store to get bought. So you gotta work it.
What are the apps that you are using most often?
I have 2 mainstays in my workflow. There's Xcode, obviously, and its suite of related apps that allow you to do the development. And I love Sketch for doing UI work. It's all vector-based. It's a fantastic tool. I can't live without it. And it's $50. They're giving this thing away.
You have these Post-it notes all over, too. Is that part of the early process?
I have learned in my career that I can't live without Post-its. I try to decompose the work as much as possible into discrete chunks. And then those get represented by a Post-it, and then I can corral the Post-its by the various stage of work that they're in. I can put them away if I decide I don't want to work on them, but I think they'd be a good idea later. It's an easy way for me to keep track of the chunks of idea floating around in my head, essentially.
What are your must-haves for your workspace? What enables you to get into the zone?
I absolutely need like a larger screen than what you can get on a laptop, and I do a lot of planning actually by going for a walk. If I'm stuck on a problem, it's really beneficial to have a great set of surroundings where I can go for 30 minutes and just think as I walk around.
What's the best part of being a freelance mobile designer developer in San Francisco in the tech industry right now?
It is so rewarding to know that there exists a vast worldwide distribution channel to reach so many people whose computers are riding with them in their pockets all day, and that I can solve their problems. It's so rewarding to know that so many people can be reached by whatever clever thing I can come up with to make their world slightly easier. That's just the best damn job anyone could ask for.